Khurshid, His Holiness the Catholicos of the East and Supreme Head of the Malankara Orthodox Church, and His Grace Dr. Yohannon Mar Demetrios, Metropolitan of the Diocese of Delhi. I request the audience to give a rousing round of applause for our chief guest for the evening, Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu, former Vice President of the Republic of India. Thank you. I request our distinguished dignitaries and guests to please take their seats. Good evening and welcome to the Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios Award Ceremony 2022. A globally renowned scholar, philosopher, author, educationist and theologian, Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios was the first Metropolitan of the Diocese of Delhi. An ardent advocate of human development and nuclear disarmament, and a champion of holistic health and environmental concerns, Dr. Gregorios was an ecumenical leader devoted to interfaith dialogue and cooperation, and was also one of the former presidents of the World Council of Churches. Dr. Gregorios founded the Sophia Society in 1984 to undertake activities focusing on national unity, community health, social education, and peace with justice. The Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios Award is a biennial international award instituted by the Sophia Society in His Grace's memory to promote peace, justice, and wisdom, ideals for which Dr. Gregorios lived and worked. On this August evening, the Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios Award 2022 is being conferred upon Shri Sonam Wangchuk, innovator and education reformist, and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh, for their outstanding contribution to creative innovation and sustainable development. Without further ado, let us begin the ceremony by invoking the blessings of the Lord Almighty with a prayer song led by Ekara. Please rise for the prayer song. please remain standing as our eminent dignitaries come forward and light the lamp as a symbol of divine enlightenment and to denote the solemnity of the evening. Thank you, honorable guests. Kindly be seated. I now invite His Grace Dr. Yohanan Mar Demetrios, Metropolitan of the Diocese of Delhi, to accord a formal welcome to the gathering.
Your Holiness, Baselios Marthoma Mathews III, Catholicos of the East, Malankara Metropolitan and Supreme Head of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, Shri Venkaiah Naidu, Honorable former Vice President of India, Shri Salman Khurshid, Shri Sonam Wangchuk, Reverend Father K.M. George, Reverend Father Saji Yohanan, distinguished guests present in this audience, Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters, luminaries and distinguished guests from the field of politics, commerce, education, dear brothers and sisters, may I extend a very cordial welcome to one and all gathered here for the 7th Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios Award 2022. It is my joyous privilege to extend a warm welcome to all our celebrated guests present this evening and to each and every one of you. Our evening has been made glorious by the presence of the former Vice President of India, Shri Venkaiah Naidu. I still recall my first meeting with Shri Venkaiah ji. Father Saji Yohanan, along with other priests, had gone to pay him a visit. It warmed my heart to hear him speak of his vision of what constituted the features that made India what it is today. And I heard how every group in this country must find shelter in India so that the mosaic of religious tolerance and pluralism continues to strengthen this great nation. It was not just something that Shri Venkaiah ji said in private. It was something that was reiterated and underscored in public when he addressed several audiences. On behalf of His Holiness and of the Malankara Orthodox Church and the Diocese of Delhi, Shri Venkaiah ji, we extend to you our very warm welcome as chief guest for this evening. Presiding over this evening's function is His Holiness Baselios Marthoma Mathews III. His Holiness, a protege of Dr. Paulos Gregorios, a theologian who has excelled as professor and as a metropolitan in the service of the church. We are blessed by the presence and prayers of His Holiness as he has come mainly to attend this function and to bless us with their prayers. Your Holiness, on behalf of the Diocese of Delhi and the Sophia Society, we extend to Your Holiness our most hearty welcome as to preside over this function. The star-studded career of Shri Salman Khurshid in politics is something that we have all been familiar with. As member of the cabinet in the ministry of Srimati Indira Gandhi and Shri Rajiv Gandhi, and continuing his career in the field of jurisprudence, Shri Salman Khurshid, in the brevity of time and our approach, even though quite sudden, was responded to very warmly by Shri Salman. We are so grateful to you for accepting our invitation to deliver the keynote address. To you, Shri Salman, we extend our very hearty welcome for today's event. Our recipient this year for the Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award is Sri Sonam Wangchuk. You have to see to believe what his ingenuity and coupling of engineering and environmental concerns have resulted or produced in Ladakh. Father Saji Yoganan, Father Ebin and I went to Ladakh to see for ourselves the feats that he has accomplished there. His environmental concerns connected to reverse the demerits of present tourism, building habitats that do not require ceiling fans or air conditioners or air coolers is a marvel to experience. I'm sure that within a short time we will be listening to more of such incidents or rather exploits from Sri Sonam Wangchuk himself. Sri Sonam, on behalf of the Malankara Orthodox Church, the Diocese of Delhi and Sophia Society, we extend to you our most hearty welcome as you grace our occasion this evening. Reverend Father Dr. K.M. George, a very noted theologian of the Eastern Church and a person who was very well involved with ecumenical activities, is currently the director of the Dr. Paulos Gregorios Chair at Mahatma Gandhi University, the Director of Sonam Academy, whose theological insights always is a pleasure to hear and to read. He finds texts in the most ordinary of natural situations. A lotus in a pond in Kerala, a plant that is trying to climb on a wall, the fauna and the flora that surround us all become texts where we can see and understand how God interacts with our life. Father Dr. K.M. George, for long, has been principal of the Orthodox Theological Seminary in Kottayam. This evening, Father George, we extend to you our very hearty welcome to the 7th Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award. Reverend Father Saji Yohanan, the Diocesan Secretary, is a person who has worked tirelessly to make sure that this evening turns out to be a resounding success. Reverend Father Saji Yohanan, welcome you most warmly to this evening. Revered bishops, reverend fathers, reverend sisters, to all of you, I extend my very warm welcome because your presence here is a reflection of the ideals of Dr. Paulos Gregorios, who strove tirelessly to bring together churches on common platforms, to build bridges of understanding not only between churches but between faiths. All your presence here is a tribute to Dr. Paulos Gregorios. I extend to all of you my personal greetings and warm welcome. Distinguished members from the field of business, political engagement, social and communal leaders, thank you all for coming here this evening and gracing this occasion. On behalf of the Diocese of Delhi and the Sophia Society, I extend to all of you a warm welcome. Members of the Managing Committee, Diocesan Council, office bearers of the various churches, societies, to all of you, very briefly, I extend my warm welcome. To all members of all churches and of all walks of life who have gathered here to pay their own personal tribute to Dr. Paulos Gregorios, I extend my warm welcome on behalf of the Church and the Diocese of Delhi and Sophia Society. If there's anybody that I have left out in any category, please consider this a personal welcome to this evening's celebration of this award. Once again, with a warm word of welcome to all, I conclude this address.
Thank you, Your Grace. I now invite His Holiness Moranma Baselios Marthoma Mathews III, Catholicos of the East and Supreme Head of the Malankara Orthodox Church, to deliver the presidential address.
Glory be to God in the highest. Your Excellency, the former Vice President of India, Shri Venkaiah Naidu, our esteemed guest, Shri Sonam Wangchuk, our guest of honor, Shri Salman Khurshid, Delhi Diocesan Metropolitan, His Grace Dr. Yohanan Mathews, very respected Reverend Father Dr. K.M. George, Diocesan Secretary Father Saji Yohanan, all church leaders, eminent dignitaries, diplomats, Reverend fathers, sisters, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all in the name of our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. Today we are gathered here to celebrate the 7th Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award instituted by the Diocese of Delhi as an enduring memorial to its first Metropolitan, His Grace Dr. Paulos Gregorios, a profound theologian of the Orthodox Church, a noted philosopher, innovative educationist, and a strong advocate of environmental concerns, nuclear disarmament, interfaith amity, and a person committed to the development of the person and society. Imbued with ideals drawn from his Orthodox faith and appreciation of India's cultural and philosophic pluralism, Gregorios endeavored tirelessly to promote interfaith dialogue and harmony and to establish development in a context sustainable use of natural resources. We see these very features and ideals found in the late Metropolitan in the person of Shri Sonam Wangchuk, his scientific temper and educational innovations, committed engineering schemes to build environmentally friendly habitats in Ladakh, to reverse the effects of city-based tourism, would be principles readily shared by Gregorios. In many ways, the work of the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh is also a reminder to this generation that the power to transform lies within ourselves and in harnessing traditional methods in education and lifestyles. Therefore, in presenting this award to Sri Sonam Wangchuk, we not only recall the pioneering effects of the late Metropolitan, but also underscore the values and ideals that inspire both these prominent leaders, the late Metropolitan Paulos Gregorios and Sri Sonam Wangchuk. The Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church proudly inherits the legacy left behind by the late bishop. This church has stood the test of time, standing as a tall witness to the faith brought to us by St. Thomas, the apostle of Jesus Christ, who landed in Kerala in AD 52. We are traditionally called St. Thomas Christians, a community nurtured and sustained by the culture and mentality of religious harmony and pluralism, vital aspects of the glory of this great country, India. Our faith took roots in the Indian soil. As an indigenous church, we inherit the legacy of being called the oldest church in India and among the oldest in the world even. The Hindu rulers in old Kerala extended protection and privileges to the St. Thomas Christians of the church. The community of Christians blended culturally with the Hindu community in Kerala. As a result of this cultural fusion, many of the local Hindu traditions and customs were adopted by Christians and exist till today. As a community steeped in worship and service, our witness is a quiet one, founded more on a life of worship, of love, and service, and bringing the light of learning and living pain and alienation in our society. This is evident from the life of late Paulos Gregorios, who was an active proponent of inter-religious dialogue and cooperation. The Christian community in India has played a significant role in establishing institutions of excellence in the field of education and health care. The Orthodox Church in India has partnered in this development, the establishment of over 25 institutions of higher learning, 240 schools, 24 hospitals, and 17 vocational and teacher training centers. As the part of the church's philanthropic mission, more than 50 orphanages, schools for mentally retarded, specially able children, homes for differently abled and challenged, caregiving homes for aged, AIDS patients and terminally ill patients, including cancer patients, have been established. The other charitable activities include financial aid to families for marriage of daughters and the construction of homes for economically underprivileged sections of the society. Delhi, the nation's capital, has also benefited in the process. The Diocese of Delhi has played a leading role in serving the nation and empowering its citizens through its network of over 25 schools, special schools, and hospitals, rendering service in the remotest corners of Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, and Chandigarh. In all the dioceses, expend over rupees 50 lakhs per year on which the cause of human development and welfare. The nation is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of independence, provides a good opportunity for us to renew, reset, and rejuvenate our future commitments and plans for the nation and the humanity as a whole. However old we may grow as a nation, we are still young at heart. This is what we learn from the life of Gregorios. He was a teacher par excellence, and he opted to be a lifelong student. The spirit of Orthodox Christianity found a creative expression through his life and works. His books serve as an inspiration for leaders, political thinkers, and philosophers even to this day. Both India and the Malankara Orthodox Church are honored to share the legacy of this intellectual giant for whom the world was the stage. We are grateful to our former Vice President, Shri Venkaiah Naidu, for accepting our invitation and consenting to be the chief guest of today's event. We look forward to our continuous support in future. I thank Shri Salman Khurshid, the noted political statesman who reflects the ideals held by outstanding Indian leaders, whose keynote address would highlight our main concern today as still being of value to contemporary society. Shri Sonam Wangchuk, the recipient of this year's award, is doing a phenomenal work in preparing the youth for a better tomorrow. We are living in times when technology is replacing human intelligence. His effort to use traditional knowledge of sustaining environment and use education as a tool to trigger innovation and entrepreneurship among the youth is praiseworthy. This world needs more leaders like him. My appreciation is conveyed to the Diocese of Delhi and the Sophia Society for organizing this event. Your presence in such a huge numbers shows the affection and admiration for your first bishop. I conclude with prayer that God, who directed Gregorios to seek truth in the worship of the ancient church, may guide our youth in this pursuing of finding truth. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We are immensely honored to have amidst us today Shri Salman Khurshid, Senior Advocate at the Supreme Court of India and former Union Cabinet Minister. An eminent Indian politician, Shri Salman Khurshid started his political career in 1981 under the Prime Ministership of Indira Gandhi. A renowned advocate and author, Shri Khurshid has served in numerous key capacities, including as General Secretary and spokesperson for the All India Congress Committee. In his political service spanning decades, as a member of the Parliament in the Lok Sabha and as Union Cabinet Minister for various ministries, including the Ministry of Water Resources, Minority Affairs, Law and Justice, and the Ministry of External Affairs, Shri Khurshid has been a vocal champion for the rights and welfare of the common man. Thank you, sir, for your presence this evening. I kindly request, sir, to now deliver the keynote address.
Good afternoon to all you wonderful people who are gathered here. It's an honor indeed to have the former Vice President, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, to bless us in this very noble function. I am indeed greatly honored that His Holiness Baselios Marthoma Mathews III is presiding over this function. And we've just heard some wonderful thoughts from him that would be an inspiration for us for many, 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 many years to come. That this is an occasion to recognize and celebrate the success, the work, the accomplishment, the imagination, the determination of someone outstanding like Shri Sonam Wangchuk from Ladakh is an inspiration by itself. And when I think for a keynote speaker to have such wonderful keys to human wisdom available in front of us on this very stage, one feels inadequate and one feels a little bit self-conscious about what possibly keynote thoughts could be said. We are also lucky to have here His Grace, Dr. Johannan Demetrios, and of course, Reverend Dr. K.M. George, and the occasion itself, the occasion on which we celebrate, indeed, we reflect and remember and pay tribute to a great soul, the late Metropolitan Dr. Paulos Gregorios, in terms of reviving and reiterating and underscoring his vision of humanity. And in that doing something which I believe, and we've just been told, extends that vision to our own times and perhaps from times beyond by recognizing the same quality and element in the aspirations of Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. What does one say to such wonderful people who are gathered here? And we still have to hear the words of wisdom for the Honorable Vice President. But these are difficult times. These are difficult times, and we've heard the remarkable work that the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church has done across the country. The importance of integrating cultures, the importance of underscoring, underlining the fundamental unity and integrity amongst the people of our country of different faiths. Essentially, bringing the faiths together in a beautiful rainbow of commitment to the Indian idea is something that I believe the Church has done in a wonderful manner. And this is an occasion where this exemplifies itself in the form of tribute that we pay to Dr. Paulos Gregorios in terms of the award that's been given to Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. We live in difficult times. You've just been told there is competition between artificial intelligence and what is described as human intelligence, physical intelligence. But I put it differently. There's competition between artificial intelligence that the digital technology is now providing to us, but there is also an important element of human emotion that needs to be protected. I do believe that the vast, wonderful world that will open up with artificial intelligence cannot and will not substitute the human emotion. Words like compassion, words like creativity, words like innovation, words like sustainable development, words like engineering to give justice to people, words like doing engineering to provide safety and security for the human soul, as indeed for succeeding generations. How do we keep in harmony with nature? How do we keep in harmony with the world that God has built for us? And how do we not exploit what is given to us for our sustaining our existence, etc., are the big questions that we are faced with. The big question that we are faced with, that human tendency towards violence and human tendency to have itself impose its own view imposed on somebody else, is something that worries us across the globe. It worries us between the haves and the have-not across the globe, and it worries us between haves and has not in our own domestic concerns and in our own homes and our families. What the church has done in a wonderful way is to ensure that the barriers of have and have not disappear as soon as possible to the extent that is possible. But the church relies on a matter of faith, and I think ultimately faith is something that cannot be dispensed with. Just as feeling are some things that cannot be dispensed with, just as knowing what it means to have a mother, to have a father, to have a sibling, to have a computer, no. To have a computer, you have many things that it can offer, but nothing like having a mother, nothing like having a father. And that's why I said, if emotion is today being charged with competition with artificial intelligence, we have to ensure that the head and the heart do not diverge, that the head and the heart remain together. And when head and heart remain together, I believe faith is confirmed. I believe faith is fortified. And as we gather in this beautiful place, you have faith that in different dimensions expresses itself. You have faith in your community. You have faith in the manner that is taught by our ancestors to us. You have faith in what the divines have shown in terms of our faith. And you have faith ultimately. Where are we standing? Where are we discussing this? But in a school, you have faith in the children who will be the people and the citizens of tomorrow. Some very wise person has said that every time a child is born, faith gets revived, hope gets revived. And the same wise man said that one person who never gets jealous or uncomfortable with your success is your mother. Your siblings can get, as a sheer matter of competition, can get jealous and get concerned about how well you are doing. Your friends might too, but two people who never give up and who never get worried about how well you do, but whose concern throughout is that you must do well, is your teacher and your mother. Fathers are not counted there. And fathers, I don't mean capital F, my lords, I don't mean capital F, but somebody who's a biological father doesn't count. And I don't mind if in psychological, philosophical terms, if the mother has primacy and has dominance in our future and in our lives, willingly, very happily, we would make space and give the path and dominance and the leadership to the women, because they bear a child for 9 months. They carry a child for 9 months, and they give everything to the child. But of course, I know that in theology, Your Grace, in theology, we are all children of God. We are all children of Jesus Christ. And we come here in the faith that whatever our respective religions describe as our salvation, the name and the phraseology may be different, but we do know that the feeling is the same. It doesn't matter whether you have Bhagwan, you have God, you have Ishwar, you have Allah, you have Vaheguru, you're all one. And that's the message that the Orthodox Church has given. And more than that, the Orthodox Church today gives another message, that when you come from the strength of what is called God's own country, Kerala, when you come from there and you go to the heavens, to the place of heavens, which is Ladakh, and you find them in the presence of Mr. Wangchuk, I think there could not possibly be a greater message that God has willed and called you to heaven. And because going to heaven is not an easy task, they've let you bring the prophet down here to be with you. And therefore, I think it's a great, great celebration and a great moment for all of us. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. As I said, we still have the words of wisdom of the Honorable Vice President to hear, which will inspire us. And therefore, for me, just with these few words, may I say, God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for reminding us that faith and the innate goodness of human nature can never, ever be truly replaced. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to witness the Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award for the year 2022 being presented to Shri Sonam Wangchuk and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh. The award consists of a citation, a medallion, and 5 lakh rupees. I call upon Reverend Father Saji Yohanan, Secretary of the Diocese of Delhi, to first read the citation.
Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award 2022 for exceptional contributions to alternative educational programming, creative architectural innovations, and sustainable development, presented to Sri Sonam Wangchuk and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh, for providing creative educational program and format focusing on the 3H: bright head, kind heart, and skilled hands, visibly practiced in the Sekmol school and leading to the utilization of such innovative educational principles in the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh, that is HIAL, which have resulted in graduating inspiring leaders for all levels of society. For his outstanding utilization of local material and waste management, which have resulted in establishing environmentally responsible and economically viable habitations for the people of Ladakh and the country. For perceptive social analysis, which has created reverse tourism by attracting visitors to the region to experience benefits of such architecturally designed habitats, thereby providing the basis for sustainable economic foundations for local families and the preservation of the environment. The Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award 2022 is hereby awarded to Sri Sonam Wangchuk, whose enduring achievements detailed above, which are in consonance with the ideals of Dr. Paulos Gregorios, the first Metropolitan of the Diocese of Delhi, Malankara Orthodox Church, whose championing of the holistic relationship of humankind, which is with its environment and God, advocacy of multi-faith dialogue and interreligious harmony, vocal activism for creative educational reforms, and vision for nuclear disarmament and peace, led to the establishment of this award in his memory. In recognition whereof, the Sophia Society Delhi is privileged to confer the 7th Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award to Sri Sonam Wangchuk, a true leader and visionary, whose life provides true vision for future generations for harmonious living with environment and community. New Delhi, 27 November 2022. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award 2022 for outstanding contribution to creative innovation and sustainable development will now be formally conferred upon Shri Sonam Wangchuk and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh, by the former Vice President of India, His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu. I request all of you to please rise for the moment of the evening as His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu, the former Vice President of India, presents the Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award for the year 2022 to Shri Sonam Wangchuk and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives, Ladakh. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put our hands together for the Dr. Paulos Gregorios awardee for the year 2022, Shri Sonam Wangchuk, as he is facilitated by Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu. Shri Sonam Wangchuk and the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives Ladakh are being honored for their outstanding contribution to creative innovation and sustainable development this year. I request all of you to kindly be seated. May I humbly request His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu to do the honor of releasing for the first time today the books entitled Philosophy and the Quest of Meaning and Anandastroth, the Festivals of India. Reverend Father Saji Abraham shall present the first copy of the books to Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu. I now request Reverend Father Yaakov Baby to present also the book titled Gregorios the Gifted and the souvenir on Metropolitan Dr. Paulos Gregorios to His Holiness the Catholicos of the East and the Supreme Head of the Malankara Orthodox Church. Reverend Father presenting the souvenir for the year 2022 and the book entitled Gregorios the Gifted to His Holiness the Catholicos of the East. Thank you all. I request the dignitaries to kindly take their seats. May I now invite Shri Sonam Wangchuk for the acceptance speech.
Namaskar and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to be in the presence of former Vice President, His Excellency, Shri Venkaiah Naidu, His Holiness Baselios Marthoma Mathews III, Shri Salman Khurshid, former Union Minister, Father Yohanan Mar Dimitrios, of the Delhi Metropolitan, Dr. K.M. George, and Father Saji Yohanan. I truly feel honored and humbled and microscopically small. Small, in fact, is a big word for how I feel, to be receiving this award in the footsteps of giants like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Baba Amteji, and Verghese Kurian. And first of all, I would say that I'm only receiving this on behalf of the people of Ladakh. The love and support of the people of Ladakh and India has made it possible for me to do something in these directions. Our team at Himalayan Institute of Alternatives has been working day and night to make these possible. I receive it on their behalf, and I receive it and dedicated it to my family members. My sister, Dr. Duchan, and brother-in-law are here, and I acknowledge their presence. Sometimes people ask me, how did you dedicate your life for social and environmental causes? And actually, I think it's just because I was the youngest in the family and therefore hardly any responsibilities. It takes some empathy and initiative, but there are so many, I'm sure there must be so many who have those, but then find themselves bound by family responsibilities. It is thanks to my elder brothers and sisters who took responsibility of the family and left me to do whatever I do. And that's why I think I'm able to do something unlike many others who could have done even better. So today, I dedicate this award to all such people who have made it possible in Ladakh. I especially feel honored to receive this award because it comes from a Christian church and a church that I'm mesmerized to learn more and more about, that started in AD 52, way before most of the world, and truly could be called an Indian church that started in Kerala soon after Jesus Christ. And I'm most impressed by their ecumenical and open vision. This world is colorful thanks to the different religions and traditions we see here. Like Louis Armstrong says, what a wonderful world. So I see the Christians with their black and white preaching compassion, so colorful. I see people of Islamic faith with their green color preaching discipline in life. I see the Hindus in their saffron colors preaching the Sanatan Dharma of India. I see the Jains, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jews, each with most valuable lessons that we could all benefit. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. This is what makes it beautiful, our world, and what makes it most colorful. And today I feel like saying what I said some 38 years ago when I was a student in 12th grade in a Buddhist spiritual function, that sometimes we think we have problems from these faiths or that faith. Sometimes we think we have problems with Christians, we have problems with Muslims, we have problems with Hindus. But actually, the problem is not from without. It is the divisiveness within that makes us feel uncomfortable with others. Because otherwise, you may separate the world in religions. Will there be peace? Well, we did that in 1947. Pakistan was made on the basis of religion. But very soon, Pakistan, which was an Islamic nation, broke into Pakistan and Bangladesh. And now there are talks of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa demanding a separate country. Similarly, in the Christians, if you see, there is this sect and that sect, the Orthodox, the Catholic, the Protestants, and in my own faith, Buddhism, we have the Hinayana and then the Mahayana who think Hinayanas are small, and then we have the Vajrayana who think all others are smaller. And then within Vajrayana, we have the yellow-head sects and the red-head sects who do not very well get along. So now if we were to divide, we'll keep dividing, and it goes till in a family. Brothers can't live together. They find something to fight about. So how far do we go if we go this path? Instead, if we look at the reason, then it is this nature of ours which has divisiveness, and that cannot be conquered by finding scapegoats outside. It is in fact more needed that we evolve to see that if you want to divide, you will find some reason, left, right, black, white, north, south. You find a division and you see it. So it's more for us to educate ourselves, evolve, and live happily. Then the reverse is also true. From brothers or sisters in a family to a nation of colorful faiths can live harmoniously if you are rising above these divisiveness. So that's why I find it most important that in this country we have this colorfulness of the different faiths. Now, faiths of all kinds, I want to bring it home to the current challenges. Faiths of all kinds have taught us peace, non-violence. If you look at all the faiths, any religion or tradition worth the name speaks of non-violence, which makes me infer that violence was a big issue once upon a time. Violence was a very big issue. And yes, as we were hunter-gatherers, slowly becoming settled farmers, there was lawlessness. Violence must have prevailed. And these religious faiths taught us peace. But today, I think they have done their job. There's hardly any deaths due to physical violence. In those days, maybe the way to resolve a conflict was by cracking open one another's heads. But then these religions taught us and made us see beyond. And today, when I look up on the internet, causes of death in the world, violence of that physical nature with knives and daggers is some 26th or so in number. There's hardly any. But the number 1, 2, 3 killers are all environmental, lifestyle related, pollution, emission, climate change. In my own Ladakh, our glaciers are melting, which is causing flash floods, killing thousands in the past decade alone. Similarly, in many coastal areas, and in coming years, there will be much more deaths because of environmental reasons. So therefore, I think all these colorful faiths have also to upgrade to the next version of Christianity 2.0, Hinduism 2.0, Buddhism 2.0, where the violence of our lifestyles is also acknowledged and addressed to. Today, we are not running around with daggers and arrows and bows, but every time we drive our huge cars, clean-looking cars, alone, we are dropping a bomb of roughly 4 kgs of carbon dioxide every kilometer. Now, this is the violence that we need to see in all faiths and bring peace. Today, roughly 7 million people die of air pollution alone in the world. And this number was so big, I couldn't even fathom. So I looked up and saw that the World War I and II put together killed roughly 10 million people. And this comes to a similar number. 100 million people, it killed over a period of 10 years, which comes to 10 million people a year. Air pollution alone is causing almost that many. If you add the other impacts of climate change, we are actually in the Third World War. without guns and daggers and arrows, but because of our lifestyles where we overconsume, and there was a time when we didn't have enough food, enough houses, but now we are overdoing it. Housing and agriculture are said to be two of the biggest contributors to climate change. And it doesn't need a government. If we do not throw half the food we take, we could reduce this by half. If we do not set our air conditions to 18 degrees in 45-degree Delhi, making a Ladakhi feel cold in a hot summer in Delhi, we can change things. So I appeal to you all today, as I always do, from the mountains of Ladakh. My message would be, please live simply in the big cities so that we in the mountains may simply live. Thank you. Thank you. And I thank all the dignitaries for this support and their blessings. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Sonam Wangchuk, for encouraging us to look at the intersections of ecology and theology, an area of religion in which Dr. Paulos Gregorios was deeply invested. May I now invite the former Vice President of the Republic of India, His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu, to kindly address the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our chief guest of the evening, His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu.
Namaskar. Respected Baselios Marthoma Mathews III, Sri Salman Khurshid, my friend, senior advocate, gentle politician, Honorable Dr. Johann Mar Demetrios, Sri Sonam Wangchuk, Father Dr. K.M. George, Father Saji Yohanan, and my friends in the audience, Mr. K.J. Alphonse, and also I think I see Mr. Thomas, or not able to see because of this gathering lights. Respected religious leaders, and my dear brothers and sisters, I consider it my singular privilege to be here today amidst all of you to confer the 7th Dr. Paulos Gregorios Award to honor the work and contribution of the internationally recognized engineer, innovator, social activist, and educational reformer, Sri Sonam Wangchuk. Sri Sonam Wangchuk's tireless endeavors and continuing efforts to reform the architecture and technology of Ladakh habitats by making them environmental friendly, and his ceaseless pursuit of educational reforms and pedagogical innovations that have produced young men and women who occupy leadership positions in all levels of society are truly commendable. My dear friends, this gathering of the Malankara Orthodox Church is a reflection of that plurality and indeed the very idea of India. Because I understand that the Orthodox Church community of India is not only an ancient one that dates back 2,000 years back, but also indigenous, one that assimilated the local customs and traditions and became part of the rich socio-religious mosaic of Bharat. Keeping in touch with the roots, remembering what our forefathers have done and said and given to us is very, very important. This diversity in harmony has been a unique feature of our country for centuries in line with ancient Indian belief, Vasudaika Kutumbakam. India was a rich country. India was known as Viswaguru, but India never attacked any other country because we don't believe in colonialism. Vasudaika Kutumbakam, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, that everybody should live happily. That is the motto of Indian philosophy. I don't want to make a lengthy speech. You heard Salman Khurshid, wonderful presentation, and also Sonam Wangchuk. I would like to only stress on one thing. Today, because we are honoring him, we should really work for environmental protection, to safeguard ourselves, to safeguard our future and future generations. We are all seeing that the changes that are happening, the ecology, the amount of misery it is causing to all of us. So, worldwide, there is some amount of realization, but more and more realization is required. I'm happy the heads of different countries have come together to safeguard the environment, take preventive steps, but we must work more and more and dedicate ourselves for that cause, not for anybody's sake, for our own sake. Because this living with nature, live and love with the nature, nature, culture together for bright future. That is my advice to the younger generation. You love the nature, nature will love you and protect you. You are playing with the nature, destroying the nature. That's why all this Holocaust is happening worldwide. So as Sonamji has done a wonderful work in that small state of our country, but there is a message to the rest of the country and also the rest of the world that we must all live in harmony with the nature, protect the nature, and dedicate ourselves to environmental protection. I am very happy that they have chosen such a great, noble and humble personality for this award. This award and reward, this is not a reward, it is in recognition of his service. Today's felicitation is give inspiration to the future generation. That is the purpose of this felicitation. Such people's life and their doings, they should be studied by our younger generation, and they should really move in that direction. We must also look into the contribution and achievements of the late Metropolitan Dr. Paulos Gregorios. He was a vocal advocate of inter-religious dialogue, education based on Indian cultural values, nuclear disarmament, and environmental concern, among other things. There is some similarity between these two great people. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention and have retention of your commitment. It will be only a pretension. You will be pretending as if everything is fine. But that's not real. So, we must live in peace with ourselves, with others, and also live in harmony with the nature. This is very important, and I think that should be the message of today's gathering and today's felicitation. This climate change is becoming real. One has to understand, we are only discussing it academically more and more. But when it comes to taking action, concrete action, it's lacking. The Prime Minister has taken a lead. And many other heads of countries, they are also showing interest. But this should not be left to government alone, because there is a weakness in our mentality, in our thinking. सब काम सरकार करेगा, हम बेकार बैठे तो चलेगा. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. Everything will be done by the government. We need not do anything. No. This should become a people's movement. Then only it will succeed. It should be people's movement. So people across the globe and across the country, they must come together, act together for climate protection. Otherwise, you are seeing the havoc that's being played across the globe because of change of climate. I need not explain to you. I am in front of an enlightened gathering. You know what is happening across the globe. So keeping that in mind, one is respecting each other's beliefs, feelings, and we must take inspiration from our culture. I am more concerned about culture. Religion is personal. It's a way of worship. We have different ways of worship. But culture is way of living, respecting nature, respecting elders, respecting mother. Mother includes father. That's why Salman ji was stressing more on mother. Mother. See this country also. Our tradition is, we name this as motherland. We don't call it as father's land. Mother's land. That is a culture. That is a tradition. We must always respect mother. And we must also think in terms of protecting our mothers, our sisters. We must give them equal treatment. That is also equally important. Education to girl child, protection to girl child is equally important because they constitute 50% of the population. Beti bachao, beti padhao, beti badhao. That should become a people's movement. Discrimination on the basis of religion, discrimination on the basis of gender, discrimination on the basis of caste is very bad. It is unfortunate even now, here and there, in spite of so much progress, we hear such complaints. We should all dedicate ourselves to see that this discrimination on the basis of gender, discrimination on the basis of religion, discrimination on the basis of caste, it is given up at the earliest. We are all human beings. We should respect each other. Indian philosophy tells us share and care. Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. I am happy that the Christian community, Syrian Orthodox Church, is dedicated to serve the people through education. And it is commendable, really. They have done a great job. I appreciate them for doing that. One should be recognized by his conduct, by his caliber, by his capacity, not by his caste, not by his religion, not by his region, not by his language. Language is important, religion is important, region is important. But at the same time, we should all move in the direction that irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion and region, we are one. We are one nation. We are one people. We must go together. We must work together. Then only we will be able to make real progress. Science and technology, artificial intelligence, all these things are all there. But what is required is we must see to it that we live in peace. For that, we must respect our gurus. Even with Google, even if there is some repair for Google, Guru has to be called. So Guru is very important equally, that also has to be understood. Mother and Guru. Then comes other things. We should not allow these quarrels to take place. Quarreling on the basis of who is superior, which religion is superior. This very idea really hurts the harmony. We all are going to be recognized by our acts. Who is superior, who is good, who is great. So we must act in harmony with nature, keeping the traditions of our culture and for the betterment of the fellow human beings. That should be our agenda before each individual, before each community, and before each religion. I suggest to people always select and elect people on the basis of 4 C's: character, caliber, capacity, and conduct. But unfortunately, some modern politicians have devised other 4 C's. Not the character, caliber, capacity, and conduct, but caste, community, cash, and criminality. You are seeing the havoc that is being played by these people. So, everybody should really think in terms of living in harmony with the nature, respecting elders, respecting mother, respecting teacher, and also respecting others' faith. This is very important, my dear brothers and sisters. It should be taken as a mission, and we should not give any omission or any remission. We must take up with passion for the sake of the nation. Then only we will be moving in a right direction. Each profession, each activity that is being taken is noble. So we must have that development. There is as nature itself, the creation also, some are tall, some are short, some are white, some are black. All these things are there. But they should not divide us. That is the message I want to give. That is possible if we have a proper dialogue. We must engage with inter-religious dialogue, understand each other better, know each other better, and respect each other. That should be the way forward. That is the way for global peace. The conferences, the science, religion, academic endeavors, always there should be consultation. There should be exchange of views. We must know each other's views. We must know the best practices and move forward. My dear brothers and sisters, the fundamental spiritual principles shared by different religions of India, we should take them as a possible basis for common understanding and endeavor, because we have all the religions in India. Like all global citizens in the true sense, Metropolitan Gregorios articulated his concerns for the multiple threats which we face environmentally. As all of you know, the serious hazard of climate change is becoming real. As I told you today, if the mankind has to survive, we have to recognize the role that protection and conservation play in attempting to maintain the pristine nature of biodiversity, ecosystems, and for the very survival of the human race, in the manner that our ancient sages Our ancient sages have taught us man must learn to live in harmony with nature. Our guiding principle should be to preserve nature and protect culture for a better future. As I told you, we had very thought-provoking speeches by three great people, and we must take the message which is underlined in these speeches and then mold ourselves to move forward. My dear friends, I am very happy to be here amidst you all today to take part in this function and conferring this award to Sonam Wangchuk. We need to have Sonam Wangchuks everywhere, in every state. Means people like him and work what he has done there in that state. Every individual should really move in that direction and then move forward. I once again thank you all for this opportunity given to me, and also thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for reminding us through your witty quips that it's high time for us to hold close the live and let live philosophy that India has long nurtured. As a token of our love and appreciation, His Holiness Moran Mar Baselios Marthoma Mathews III, the Supreme Head of the Malankara Orthodox Church, will now present a memento to our chief guest, Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu for gracing the occasion with his presence. Thank you, Your Excellency. I now request His Grace Dr. Yohanan Mar Demetrius, Metropolitan of the Diocese of Delhi, to present a memento to Shri Salman Khurshid as a token of our gratitude for his benign presence and enlightening words this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shri Salman Khurshid. As the curtains fall on this auspicious evening, I invite Reverend Father Dr. K.M. George, former principal of the Orthodox Theological Seminary, Kottayam, and member of the Sophia Society, to propose the vote of thanks.
Yes, words of thanks. Thank you. Your Holiness, Catholicos Marthoma Mathews III, Your Excellency Shri Venkaiah Naidu, respected Shri Salman Khurshid, respected Shri Sonam Wangchuk, Your Grace Mar Demetrios, the host of this meeting, and Reverend Father Saji Yohanan, Secretary of the Diocese. Endowed with a versatile mind, Metropolitan Paulos Mar Gregorios was a lifelong seeker of knowledge and a daring visionary. In all his voluminous philosophical and theological writings and speeches, he dwelt on the theme of shaping the future of the human race, future of our nation, and future of God's creation at large. He suggested that we should continually practice the subtle art of iconopia, that is, the art of making the image, outlining the image of the future of humanity. Mar Gregorios called for a new concept of the human and a new paradigm for a new civilization. As a humanist committed to the well-being of our societies and of all creatures, big and small, in our world, he affirmed all humanity as one single pluralistic unit. He believed in persons in relationship and in community and in the network of communities rather than in individuals and their individual aspirations for success and achievement. Characterizing his vision of a new civilization, Gregorios constantly advocated the equality and freedom of all human beings, irrespective of gender, nation, language, or religion. His tireless search for the common good, understood socially as justice, peace, and a healthy environment for all life, was geared to a new Manava Dharma, rooted in ahimsa and karuna. He called for a deep and genuine respect for all religions and for secular options as well. In his well-known inaugural speech at the 100th anniversary of the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1993, where our Swami Vivekananda had made his legendary speech 100 years before in 1893, Gregorios stated, "Not one religion for all humanity, but one humanity for all religions." His major question was how to foster a decentralized, democratic, and pluralistic society in India and elsewhere. Now let me come to my special responsibility this evening. His Holiness the Catholicos has graciously accepted to preside over this meeting, partly out of his deep respect for his own Guru, Paulos Gregorios. His Holiness has concretely realized the compassionate vision of his Guru for the poor and the marginalized by opening more than a dozen houses for the disabled, for the elderly and the destitute, for orphans and widows, and for feeding and rehabilitating a large number of marginalized persons in Kerala. Your Holiness, please accept the deep gratitude of the Sophia Society and the Diocese for your pastoral concern and blessings. We are greatly honored to have the presence of His Excellency Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu as the chief guest in this August ceremony. Sir, your very benign and inclusive vision for our nation of many colors gives us much encouragement and hope for the future. Your close acquaintance with the international diplomatic network and parliamentary procedures has given our country a pride of place among the democracies of the world today. On behalf of the Sophia Society and the Delhi Diocese of the Orthodox Church, sir, we express our deep gratitude to you. We as Indians are very proud of Dr. Salman Khurshid, another international luminary from our country, for his social and political interventions in favor of the unity and integrity of our nation, and for his creative, insightful, and humorous writings as well. Sir, it is gracious of you to have accepted our invitation to deliver the keynote address. Please accept our sincere and profound gratitude. Now to Sri Sonam Wangchuk, sir, had Gregorios been living today, he would have definitely traveled to Ladakh and stayed with you in order to learn from you about your work for the poor students, youth, and the village communities. Himself an educator and a lifelong learner, he would have joyfully related to your innovative and simple style and method of nourishing community living in natural environments. You would have given him new insights for his architectural vision of a new human civilization, earthy, ecologically self-sustaining, and peaceful for all life. Now, sir, please accept our deep gratitude for accepting this award. His Grace Mar Demetrios is the host of this meeting. A formal thank you may be superfluous here. Mar Demetrios moves with ease, grace, and a ready sense of humor among all kinds of people. A former colleague of mine in theological education, he sustains the legacy of Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios in this part of the country. Your Grace, please accept our love and gratitude. And Father Saji Yohanan, another student of Paulos Mar Gregorios and diocesan secretary, is fully committed to his calling as priest and administrator of the Delhi Diocese. His gift for public relations is an asset to the diocese. Saji Achan, we are thankful for your excellent services. And on behalf of the society and the diocese, I greet and thank all our specially invited esteemed guests, their excellencies, the bishops, the ambassadors, diplomats, and dignitaries. And to you, my brother priests, my brothers and sisters, gathered here from different parts of the country, out of your love and devotion to our shepherd, Paulos Mar Gregorios of blessed memory, a big thank you. Thank you all.
I request all present here to now kindly rise for the national anthem.
जन मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जावे शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाना जय जन मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे
Thank you very much. And with that, we come to a conclusion of the Dr. Paulos Mar Gregorios Award Ceremony for the year 2022. I request the audience to kindly remain standing in their respective places until the dignitaries are escorted off the dais. I also request the audience at this time to kindly avoid any sort of chaos at exit. The volunteers in their respective positions will guide you to the corresponding exits. Please wait for the guests seated in the backmost seats to exit. I request all of you to kindly be seated in the meanwhile. Guests who have to leave by car or metro can take gate number 3, which will be towards the right of your exit. And those who have to leave by bus can exit through gate number 4, which will be towards the left of the main exit. Please do collect your refreshments at the exit gate. Thank you very much for your patience, guests and dignitaries. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you and good night.
Sari,